As the upcoming elections are coming closer, the atmosphere is heated and the future uncertain. In the United States, the stakes have never been higher, as candidates position themselves on critical issues ranging from the economy and healthcare to immigration and foreign policy. This election promises not just to shape the future of America, but to influence global dynamics as well. One figure continues to polarize opinions and receive support: Donald Trump. His policies and leadership style have left a huge mark on both American politics and international relations. Now let's look at the 10 countries supporting Donald Trump. 1. Israel. Israel stands as one of the most vocal supporters of Donald Trump, primarily due to his strong pro-Israel policies during his presidency. Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, moving the U.S. embassy there, which was seen as a historic milestone by many Israelis. This gesture reaffirmed America's unwavering alliance with Israel, sparking approval across the nation. Trump's tough stance on Iran also resonated deeply with Israelis who view Iran as a significant regional threat. His decision to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal in 2018 was seen as an action aligned with Israel's security interests. Many Israelis felt that Trump understood their security concerns better than previous administrations, which fuels continued support. Even among Israel's opposition parties, there's a recognition that Trump's policies significantly shaped the nation's regional standing. Furthermore, Trump's support for Israeli settlements in the West Bank, breaking from previous U.S. policy, was seen by some as a support of Israel's claims to contested territories, which resonated with Israel's conservative base. This combination of policies solidified Trump's reputation as one of the most pro-Israel U.S. leaders, securing widespread support for him across Israel's political spectrum. 2. Russia. Russia's support for Donald Trump is both complex and strategic. Many Russians view Trump as a figure who, willingly or not, contributed to a more multipolar world by challenging traditional U.S. alliances and questioning NATO's role. Trump's often unpredictable foreign policy and his skepticism towards NATO appealed to a segment of the Russian population who view U.S. influence in Europe as a threat to Russia's sovereignty. Russian state media frequently portrayed Trump in a positive light, emphasizing his pragmatic approach to foreign policy over ideological commitment. Furthermore, Trump's stance on reducing U.S. involvement in foreign conflicts aligned with Russian interests, especially in regions like the Middle East. While Trump's policies weren't directly pro-Russian, his actions fostered a diplomatic climate that Russia found advantageous. Russians who favor a less interventionist U.S. presence abroad often view Trump as an ideal leader, one who prioritizes American interests and inadvertently promotes a balance of power more favorable to Russian objectives. 3. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia remains one of the most ardent supporters of Donald Trump, primarily due to the strengthened U.S.-Saudi alliance during his presidency. Trump's administration deepened strategic and economic ties with Saudi Arabia, focusing on shared interests in regional security, defense, and energy. The Trump administration's withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal aligned with Saudi Arabia's long-standing concerns about Iranian influence in the Middle East. Trump's decisive stance against Iran reassured Saudi leaders, who view Iran as a significant regional threat, and increased trust in Trump's commitment to supporting Saudi Arabia's security objectives. Furthermore, Trump approved large arms sales to the kingdom, reinforcing a partnership based on mutual defense interests and cementing the country's strategic alliance. Trump's emphasis on energy independence and maintaining strong oil partnerships aligned with Saudi interests, ensuring stability in oil prices that benefit both economies. Many Saudis appreciated Trump's consistency in upholding Saudi-U.S. relations, fostering a strong pro-Trump sentiment across the kingdom. 4. Philippines. The Philippines hold a unique admiration for Donald Trump, especially among supporters of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Duterte, known for his hardline policies and outspoken demeanor, drew comparisons to Trump due to their similar populist, anti-establishment approaches. Trump's willingness to maintain friendly relations with Duterte, despite international criticism of Duterte's domestic policies, solidified Trump's appeal in the Philippines. Many Filipinos appreciated Trump's non-interventionist approach, especially regarding the Philippines' internal issues, which fostered a sense of respect for national sovereignty. Furthermore, the strong trade ties have led many Filipinos to view Trump as an ally who respects and supports Filipino interests abroad. Trump's stance on reducing restrictions for Filipino immigrants also increased his popularity among Filipinos in the U.S. and at home. This non-interference in domestic policies, coupled with economic and cultural ties, solidified Trump's appeal in the Philippines, where he is viewed as a leader who understands and respects the sovereignty of allied nations. 5. Poland. Poland's support for Donald Trump stems from a shared commitment to military and economic cooperation, particularly concerning defense against Russian aggression. Trump's administration increased the U.S. military presence in Poland, which Poles appreciated as a gesture of solidarity and a deterrent to potential threats from the East. This strengthened military partnership underscored Trump's commitment to NATO allies in Eastern Europe, despite his criticisms of other NATO members' financial contributions. Trump was also popular among Poles for supporting Poland's stance on energy independence from Russia, advocating for Poland's efforts to diversify its energy sources and reduce reliance on Russian gas. Additionally, Trump's opposition to the European Union's policies aligns with the views of Poland's conservative government, which often clashes with EU directives. Many Polish citizens view Trump as a strong advocate for sovereignty and national interests over globalist policies. For these reasons, Trump garnered considerable support in Poland, where his policies are seen as reinforcing Poland's security and autonomy, strengthening their alliance with the United States. 6. Brazil. Donald Trump found significant support, largely due to his ideological alignment with Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Often called the Trump of the tropics, Bolsonaro shares Trump's populist, right-wing views and anti-establishment rhetoric, which led many Brazilians to admire Trump as a political role model. During Trump's presidency, Brazil and the United States saw a warming of diplomatic relations, particularly on trade and environmental policies, both of which aligned with Bolsonaro's conservative stance. Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement and skepticism of environmental restrictions were mirrored by Bolsonaro's policies in Brazil, especially regarding the Amazon. Brazilian conservatives and Bolsonaro supporters admire Trump's stance on family values, economic nationalism, and anti-globalism, as well as his approach to addressing crises like COVID-19, which Bolsonaro adopted in Brazil. Trump's style and his emphasis on traditional values have strongly resonated with Brazilian right-wing voters who see him as a defender of their beliefs. This shared ideological bond between Trump and Bolsonaro has helped create a substantial base of support for Trump in Brazil, with many viewing him as a powerful figure aligned with Brazilian conservatism. 7. Colombia. Colombia's support for Donald Trump was shaped by shared interests in counter-narcotics efforts, trade relations, and a mutual approach to handling regional crises, especially regarding Venezuela. Trump's administration emphasized curbing drug trafficking, which Colombia has long battled. Trump's calls for greater enforcement and support for Colombia's anti-drug initiatives resonated with many Colombians, particularly those concerned with public safety and the societal impact of the drug trade. Additionally, Trump's administration took a firm stance against the Venezuelan regime of Nicolas Maduro, aligning closely with Colombia's own opposition to Maduro's government. Many Colombians viewed Trump as a supporter of Latin American stability, seeing his hardline stance as a buffer against Venezuela's spillover crises, which impact Colombian communities near the border. Trade relations under Trump also bolstered support, as he reaffirmed the U.S.-Colombia Trade Promotion Agreement, allowing for continued growth in Colombian exports to the U.S., a crucial trade partner. Trump's policies, favoring strong economic and security ties with Colombia, fostered a sense of partnership and mutual respect, which was positively received by many Colombians. His stance on law enforcement, anti-communism, and support for democratic stability in Latin America further increased his popularity among Colombians who view these issues as central to their nation's stability and growth. 8. Italy. Italy's support for Donald Trump was particularly strong among right-wing political groups and leaders who admired his populist rhetoric, nationalist approach, and firm stance on immigration. Leaders like Matteo Salvini of the League Party openly endorsed Trump, seeing parallels between Trump's America First policies and their own Italians First agenda. Trump's policies on immigration resonated deeply in Italy, where debates around migration from North Africa and the Mediterranean have divided public opinion. Many Italians viewed Trump's approach as decisive and saw him as a model for strengthening Italy's borders, national identity, and security. Trump's economic policies, particularly his emphasis on deregulation and nationalism, appealed to Italian conservatives who oppose EU bureaucratic oversight and favor greater economic independence. Italian media with conservative leanings often highlighted Trump's economic achievements, portraying him as a leader who puts his country first. This admiration created a strong pro-Trump base, especially among Italians who value sovereignty, cultural identity, and pragmatic economics. In Italy, Trump is seen as a leader who stood firmly for his nation's interests, an approach that resonates with those who want to see a similar emphasis on Italian priorities in their own leadership. 9. Hungary. Hungary has shown consistent support for Donald Trump, reflecting shared nationalist ideologies between Trump and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. Orbán, a populist leader known for his strong anti-immigration stance and focus on national sovereignty, found common ground with Trump's America First rhetoric and immigration policies. Orbán publicly endorsed Trump in the 2020 election, signaling Hungary's preference for his leadership style over other candidates. Many Hungarians view Trump as a defender of traditional values, national interests, and a skeptic of globalist agendas, which resonates with the conservative policies Orbán promotes domestically. Furthermore, both Trump and Orbán are critical of the European Union's policies, especially around issues like migration and judicial independence, which fosters a unique camaraderie between their administrations. Hungary's media, largely influenced by pro-government outlets, portrays Trump in a favorable light, reinforcing positive perceptions among the population. This ideological alignment has led many Hungarians to view Trump as a powerful ally in the fight for preserving national identity, making Hungary a country that actively supports Trump's influence on global politics. 10. Egypt. Egypt's support for Donald Trump stems from a shared focus on security, counterterrorism, and regional stability. Trump developed a close relationship with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, whom he publicly praised as a fantastic guy. This friendship resonated with many Egyptians, as Trump's administration strengthened U.S.-Egypt relations and offered support without pressing too hard on human rights issues, a stance that Egyptian leadership appreciated. The Trump administration's commitment to fighting terrorism and containing the influence of groups like ISIS and the Muslim Brotherhood aligned closely with Egypt's own security objectives. Egyptians also supported Trump's role in the Israel-Palestine peace plan, which, although controversial, was seen by some as a step toward a new regional stability that included Egypt as a major player. Additionally, Trump's decision to cut funding to Iran-backed militias in the region, which Egypt viewed as a threat, further aligned with the country's strategic interests. Trump's approach to Middle Eastern policy, emphasizing counterterrorism and stability over intervention, was widely appreciated by many in Egypt who favored a pragmatic approach to regional politics. This made Egypt one of the countries in the Middle East where Trump garnered significant public and governmental support.